real treat. I know I thoroughly enjoyed my visit with Dr. Williams, and we are very pleased to bring him to share a little knowledge of the history of Richmond with you. Dr. Williams, we certainly welcome you. Thank you so much.
Okay, so Dr. Williams, we'll get the thing around here and start telling us.
Okay.
Tell us what this is.
This is an early picture taken when Mayo Bridge was still a wooden bridge, and this picture is taken looking south toward South Richmond or toward Manchester at that time. And there are two flour mills. One is a Dunlop mill, which is to the left, and over to the right. I don't know, that's another flour mill, but I don't know what the name is. But the lower right-hand corner is the Mayo Bridge when it was wooden. And that portion goes from Mayo Island over to South Richmond or to Manchester at that time.
He didn't take this picture, by the way. This is a little. He didn't take this one, but he tell him what you did on that deck, that right there in front of that building. Tell him what you used to do.
Well, I would dig up earthworms in my yard on Stockton Street and walk down to the river with some fishing hooks and a cork. And incidentally, I bought the fishing hooks on Hull Street at a store that was at 13th and Hull called Hogan's. And Hogan's was a store that had most anything that you wanted in the way of household goods, and they saw lamp chimneys and kerosene oil and candy and just miscellaneous things. And it was at 13th and Hull Street.
Okay. Now, this is the beginning picture. This is a little bit later. Tell us what's that building beside it.
This building was erected by the Southern States Cooperative as a grain elevator and with a storage of grain.
The building on the right is
the building on the right is a Dunlop flour mill.
And the one on the left is the granary.
It's a grain elevator.
And then tell us this story about what happened here. Where were you?
I happened to be an intern at the Medical College of Virginia, and my wife called me one day or one morning early, and she said there's something that's burning. That she had gotten word that something was burning in South Richmond, and I was at the medical college as an intern, and I called to ask her what it was, and she said she didn't know, but something was burning in lower South Richmond. And so I looked out the window and I saw from the top floor at the medical college, I saw this Dunlop mills on fire, and it burned like you see it now.
And you took that picture.
And I took that picture.
Okay. What year? Do you remember around when that was?
That year was 1949.
Okay. What's this?
This is Mayo Bridge with traffic going north. You'll notice the Hull Streetcar, Hull Streetcar had tracks across the Mayo Bridge, and this is the Hull Streetcar showing going north on the bridge, just at the approaching Mayo Island.
Okay, now talk about this. Is one of your many pictures of floods.
This is a picture taken in March 1936 of one of the floods that usually put high water all over lower South Richmond below 4th Street.
Okay, so this is Hull Street. Now tell them what these buildings are back
The,
here.
the building to the right of that truck is the Southern Railway freight and passenger station, and the truck is crossing the tracks there, and the tracks go from Richmond up to Danville. That's the Richmond Danville line.
Right. And in the background is
In the
that
back,
Dunlop?
in the right behind the station is part of the Manchester of
Is that the mill?
the paper mill.
Paper mill.
Paper
Okay.
mill. And you can see the top of the flour mill just above the station.
Right. Okay. And here's another one.
Yeah, and
Big
this.
flood.
This is August 1940, with a lower Hull Street is flooded, and people are in boats right at 2nd and Hull.
Tell them those two buildings in the background there.
The building right behind that you see the sign above is a shoe distribution company called Wingo, Elliott and Crump, and they distributed a brand of shoes called Hunt Club shoes. Behind that is Crawford Manufacturing Company, and they made parachutes for the Army during World War II, and their principal commodity was making hassocks and awnings prior to getting a contract to make the parachutes for the Army.
Okay.
Over to the other side,
Sorry, go ahead.
the other building just past the boat people on 2nd Street is the Standard Oil building, and that's where the Standard Oil Company had their Richmond offices upstairs there, and they had their garage below, and you're looking east on 2nd Street, and behind the shoe place, Wingo, Elliott and Crump, is Crawford Manufacturing.
Okay. And then this one. This is two different times.
Yeah.
Okay.
These are two different times. These pictures were taken from Mayo Bridge, looking up river, and there was an island over in the river known locally as Sharp's Island, with a house on it, and you see it there in that picture, and it withstood a lot of floods over the years, but finally one of the floods took it away. But down below there, you can see somebody fishing there, and that happened to be my son, who used to go down and fish for hickory shad during the shad run, and the shad would come up the river and be pretty plentiful there at just above Mayo Bridge.
What's this right here?
This is an aerial view of one of the floods during the 1930s, and you're looking down on lower South Richmond, and over to the left is Hull Street, and you can see it's covered in water, but the water doesn't cover Mayo Bridge. Mayo Bridge is right where that blue arrow is, and the rest of South Richmond was flooded, and you can see. And this was
And this is my favorite picture picture of his. Tell him this. Tell him. All right. First of all, tell us where we are here.
This is the Mayo Island ballpark.
Okay. Show him where the grandstand
The
is.
grandstand is that's where the grandstand is. The home plate is about where those.
Right there. Right up there.
No, it's home plate is move it up a little bit, and you'll see well home plate was right in there,
Okay.
and so a home run would go over the fence, which is over on the right hand side.
Okay. In other words, to get your bearings here, you got home plate. This is the ball field. Now this is underwater during a flood. Under normal conditions, under the stadium, this is the stadium seats here. Even under normal conditions, it was 3 feet of water underneath there. But to get your bearings, this side and that side of the ball field on the island is the James River. So now you can tell your stories about what's going on in the river. So here's the river.
We would get in the river with our bathing suits and to retrieve a ball to play with. We would look through the fence, and when a home run would come over, we'd go into the river and get the ball. And you could, if you wanted to go in and watch the game, you could take the ball to the gate and get in with a ball, or you could take it home and use it to play.
Okay, now,
Kitty, your great-grandfather took a photograph?
yeah, I actually have a picture from standing, looking up into that the grandstands there.
And about what year did he photograph?
I'm not sure it wasn't
Around
dated.
1920s?
Early 1920s. But this, and he identified that picture for me. He and another senior citizen in Richmond was able to. Okay, now let's talk about down. So sometimes you went down there and you got your balls for playing or to get into the game. Now you also worked there. Talk about your working and what you did.
Well, I sold peanuts and popcorn and soft drinks, and
what else did you sell?
and we sold a beer called it was called our special. It was a cool and refreshing, but didn't have any alcohol in it. But it was just like a regular beer.
And what did they call it?
They called it near beer, but it was our special, and it was made in Baltimore by the Globe Brewing Company.
Okay.
And I sold that along with a popular beverage called Knee High. They had that in different flavors, and I sold peanuts and popcorn and candy and soft drinks.
Okay, now one day you were at a very important game, and I believe you were coming from that grandstand. So tell us about the big game and what happened that day.
I was leaving the grandstand to come over to the right field bleachers.
And what game was this? This was a football game between
VMI and the University of Maryland were playing at Mayo Island, and one of the teams got a touchdown, and the crowd was so jubilant about that they were jumping up and down in the stands right there, and a big section of the stands gave away, and a lot of these people went down in about 3 feet of water. And they was right, of course, it stopped the game, and people had gotten kind of panicky, and somebody grabbed my bucket of drinks and dumped them out and went down to the water and got to the river and got some water to try to revive some of these people that had fainted.
Okay, let's see. Let me get rid of the pointer and move on to the next. That's my favorite picture. Okay, now who is this handsome gentleman? And tell us about your career there.
This is when I used to operate a milk road. In 1937,
First of all, where'd you go to high school before you went to do that? You went to school at where?
I went to John Marshall High School. I went there in 1930 from Bainbridge Junior High School, and I enrolled in John Marshall High School in 1930, and I graduated in 1934.
Okay, and then you went to work for.
Excuse me. Then I went to.
Well, we'll talk about Cochran in a minute, but
Yeah.
so we're going to skip one career, go to this. So after one other career, you came to work for Virginia Dairy.
Yeah.
So tell us about that.
I took a job working with the Virginia Dairy in 1937. I took a job working at the Virginia Dairy.
And your route was along your hometown, right?
Yeah, and I had a route in South Richmond where I lived, so I was able to generate a lot of new customers by people that I had known, because I used to live in the neighborhood and I used to carry papers in the neighborhood. Years before that, I was a paper boy.
Okay. Here's another one of those floods.
Yeah.
And tell us, what's that building on the far right?
On the far right is a service station.
Okay.
There's a restaurant right by the service station.
Okay, this is the gas station up here.
Yeah, the gas station.
I'm trying to get to it. I'm not doing a very good job. Guys.
And then looking behind that
Yeah.
is the Southern Railway depot.
Right. That's the railway behind it. Okay.
And then you can see the flour mill sticking on the river above that.
And then this was would you say this was a
That's a restaurant where you got the arrow.
Okay. What was the name of that restaurant? Do you remember that?
Yeah, that restaurant was run by a man called Big John, and he lived in the back of the restaurant.
Okay. All right. Whoops. How did I get to that? Whoa. Randy, whoa. Whoa, mule, whoa. Okay, here we go.
Yeah.
Here we go. All right, now where's this?
This is Mayo Bridge with the people standing on the bridge at a time they had a high water, and people were just looking over at the high water.
Things don't change; they still do that. Okay, tell us what this is.
Now this is a picture of the Virginia Boat Club taken before it burned.
Okay.
They had a fire that burned the boat club,
So we're on Mayo Island, and in the background, that's the grandstand from the ball team. So to
Yeah.
get your bearings, Mayo Island, that's the grandstand, the back of it that we saw a minute ago, and here's the wooden boat club.
and this building burned, and they replaced it with a brick building, and they would have competition with crews from other areas, and they'd have these regattas and racing on James River. And this is an 8-man crew with a guy up at the top there with a megaphone directing them what to do.
Somewhere in that back is where he is. Okay. Okay. Now this is a newer picture that he took. Now tell us, this gives you
Yeah.
bearings on what's that building down at the bottom.
Yeah.
You need some water?
No, I'm okay. This building down the bottom is a brick building built to replace the wooden building that you saw in the previous picture. And this was built by Howard Cochran, who took over the island. I don't know whether he was leasing it or whether he actually bought the island, but he had his trucking operation on the island, and this was his a picture of his trucks and the brick building that he either built this or had it built.
Right, so that's the trucks lined up in the parking lot. So basically where that stadium was is where the Cochran parking lot is. And now you had a relationship with the Cochrans too, didn't you? Work for somebody named Cochran?
Yeah, I worked for Howard Cochran's brother as a truck driver. And he was operating a trucking line called Cochran Transportation. And I worked for them for a good while. And during that stay while I was working for them, they stationed me in Baltimore for city delivery. And I lived in Baltimore and during the week and came home on Saturday with a truckload and went back on Sunday with a truckload going both ways, hauling freight. And so I lived in Baltimore for the summer of 1935.
When Mr. Cochran took over, was that early 40s when the ball field disappeared, when Mr. Cochran took that on?
Yeah.
It's early 40s probably. Okay, let's talk about the Manchester Board and Paper and where you delivered your stuff.
The anatomy has changed here. When we would save newspapers and take them to the mill to get money for old newspapers, the conveyor that you see to the right-hand side that they load papers on there used to be down at this end of the building.
Where that area is basically.
So we would gather up newspapers from people in the neighborhood and take them to the mill and to get some extra money.
And he said that he'd go in, he'd put the papers on the conveyor here, and the papers would go up, and then you go around to the office and collect your money.
That's right.
So, okay. What's this?
Now this is the Southern train. They had an annual trip to Keysville every year they had the Southern train made a special trip to Keysville, and this is one of those trips in 1966.
This is another of my favorite pictures. Okay, so what's this?
This is during World War II, when they were afraid that the bridge would be sabotaged by some German spies, and so they. This was when they had tolls. This was before
Right
the
war.
the war. They had a toll.
On which bridge is this 9th Street?
This is 9th Street
9th
Bridge.
Street Bridge. So
We're on Southside looking toward Richmond.
right,
Yeah.
we're Southside on the bridge, looking towards Richmond across the river, right?
And
This is a very low bridge right near the river.
Is that the Lee? Your son says it's a Lee.
yeah.
Okay, well, your son says so. It's a Lee Bridge. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, now what's it? Whoa, what? Come back here. Whoa, what's that?
Yeah, during the war, they were afraid that that somebody would sabotage the bridge, and so they stationed the National Guard on Spring Hill to make sure that they had full coverage of the bridge. And so the National Guard bivouacked on Spring Hill.
There's a bridge in the back, right?
So that's the Lee Bridge in the back.
Lee Bridge in the background. And so, in other words, the memory of the Civil War and burning the bridges from Richmond was very new, so they were afraid that they would have it happen again.
Yeah.
The Germans would just won't get in here and get it. Okay.
Yeah.
So I love this picture. Okay. What else we got here? Let's see.
Now,
Yeah.
this picture was taken from River Towers.
Oh, speaking of which, okay, so here, see the bivouacking soldiers, and I think basically here is where River Towers is, right?
Yeah.
So now he's up in River Towers because now they've built River Towers and he's looking over.
Yeah, and this is a railroad bridge from Southside going over to Belle Isle. At that time, when this picture was taken, Belle Isle was they did a lot of manufacturing of materials on they had the Old Dominion Iron and Steel Works, I think, was on Belle Isle.
Okay, I'm gonna show you what's up here in these woods.
Yeah. There's a quarry up in those woods, and we had the opportunity to go swimming in that quarry, and we would walk across that bridge and go over and go through those woods and go swimming in that quarry.
And how'd you swim?
And of course we skinny dipped in that. We didn't have to have on any clothes. We would just go in and you didn't have to worry about.
Good coverage in those trees is what he's telling us. Okay.
Was it?
Is that an electric powerhouse?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the Streetcar Power, one of the
One
powerhouses.
of the streetcar
One of the powerhouses, yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
Vepco's.
All right.
Now,
And then this
this-
is from the same place about it.
Yeah, this picture was taken from River Towers, looking down on the Southern Railways, sort of a marshalling yard where they would get together, assemble the freight cars.
Okay.
Can I ask about that? Is that water level there sort of regular? Because now if you're at Riverside Towers and looking at that area, and what we consider sort of regular river height, it's much higher.
She's asking, is that high? Because you can just see a little bit of the rocks in there. Now, if you look at it, it's mostly rocks and really low. Is that's below? Okay, so that's
Yeah,
okay.
these railroad tracks are still there now.
Okay. All right. We're going to go to the next picture. It doesn't want to go. There you go. Okay. Who's this?
Yeah, this is a Boy Scout troop. This was given to me by a lady whose brother was in this troop number 11.
It says on 14th Street between Porter and Perry,
Yeah.
and the scoutmaster was Kenneth Hennett, I guess it is, and this is
Yeah.
about 1915.
Yeah.
So, okay, so that's a good picture. Okay, what's this about? Tell me about the lives of this building.
This building used to be a blacksmith shop, and a man named Green used to, before Kramer took it over, Mr. Green, who lived on Decatur Street, had a regular blacksmith shop, and he shoed horses, and he fashioned many things out of iron, made old hinges and just many things that a blacksmith would make out of iron.
Okay, now tell us what this is and where it is.
This building is sitting what is now 10th Street.
That's the courthouse next door, right?
The Manchester courthouse is next door. And so this is sitting right in the middle of what is now East 10th Street. And to the right of this picture is the Leader Building. And so this building rests partly on the land that is now part of the Courthouse Square and part of 10th Street
So right
going east.
nowadays you have the courthouse yard, and then the road, and then the Leader Building on the left. This
Yeah.
is gone. Okay. And this is the Leader Building.
Yeah.
Okay, so
And-
tell us a little bit about the Leader Building.
Leader Building is where the Richmond News Leader started out, but it began as the Evening Journal, and then later assumed the name of the News Leader.
Now, I asked you about this building because I had a picture of my great-grandfather sitting in a field or something, and in the background, I thought it might be the Manchester Courthouse building yard. In the background, the sign said, looked like confectionery or confectioners or something. So I asked him the source of all information, and he immediately said that there was a confectionery shop of business, and where was it?
It was right on that corner.
In the front of the building. So when the newspaper moved out, this place moved in. So right in this little corner here.
Right where that sign is on that post.
So and I had taken, the picture I had was dated the same day as the picture I had of the Forest Hill roller coaster. So I thought, well, if Harry was there for the roller coaster, he might have taken a picture over there. So, but I couldn't tell. I didn't know. It was in the middle of canna lilies and Harry, and this building in the background. And Dr. Williams says, oh, yeah, that's on the corner of this first floor. So there you go. Okay, now who is this sweet man? And what's he doing?
This is me standing at a gate that's located at Morris Cemetery. And one of these gates came from the Courthouse Square down on Hull Street. At one time, there was a fence around the Courthouse Square, and they had two of these gates, and they're on rollers. They will turn all the way around. If you'll notice, right down low there, there's a turn gate, and one gate was at 9th and Hull, and this other one was at 10th and Decatur.
Okay, well, this is the last of the pictures that we brought tonight, and so I figured this is a good stopping point. You've got two pieces of history right here. You got the one on the right and the one on the left. So I thought, if y'all want to ask Dr. Williams any questions, he'll answer. If he knows something about it, I'm sure he'll know it. He'll answer it for you. So did anybody have any questions?